we're just gonna open the file, right? The practice file for the project number one. So it's a Word document. Also, I'm gonna show you guys how to input all the expressions into the Excel. Okay. All right, so let's open the lab one practice really quickly and download the file. And let's open the file and then we're gonna jump to the Excel content. So let me share the Word document with you guys. This is the Word document we are looking at. Okay. And we're gonna do some basic practice, right, on the evaluator function indicated with a calculator and using Excel. You can also double check with the with your calculator while we're doing this. So first of all, what you can do is you can just copy these functions, right? That's all we need. So here we're gonna right click on it, click on copy. I'm gonna open Excel file as well. I'm gonna share the screen with you. So this is the Excel file. Open that, and you're gonna open a blank workbook. And this is a typical, again, is a typical interface of the Excel spreadsheet. And first of all, I'm gonna give a title. So this is Excel practice. Also, you're gonna put your name in actual project. Put your name here below that. So we're gonna work on question number one. And you can paste the function here, and then I'm gonna quickly modify this because this is not a proper way of inputting in Excel. So what you want to do is change a little bit, right? So in Excel, basically you need to multiply this 6 times 3 times x and minus 4. That's proper input. Now we're gonna calculate a couple of things. First one is f of 5. The other one is f of -8. That's what we're gonna do. Let's go back to the Excel. So we're gonna work on f of 5 first. And also f of -8. So here for f of 5, you would do 6 times 3 times 5 minus 4. So anytime in Excel, if you want to calculate any operations or mathematical expressions or even a function, evaluate a function here, you always need to put an equal sign. And then if it is multiplication, you need to put this star symbol, right? On a keyboard, it will be Shift and then 8. You hold on Shift and 8 to get the star symbol. That's basically how you input this. Okay. All right. Any question about this? All right.
No,
So no problem. No question. So I want you guys to try f of -8 really quickly. I'll give you a minute to try yourself.
Professor,
Yeah, Lida,
excuse me, can you show one more time how to copy?
how to copy? Sure. One more time. You go
One
back to the,
second.
mhm. You go back to this, the Word document, and you just gonna, you see this right here? You see this box here, and then you just highlight the entire expression, and then you
Which
right
one?
click on it. Hmm? This is from the Word document.
Okay.
Yeah. So you go back to Word documents and you just highlight this expression in gray and then just right click on it. You're gonna see the copy sign here, copy, and then you go back to the Excel and then paste it, right? You open Excel, then something going on. So one more time, go back to Excel.
Oh, I did it,
Mhm.
but it didn't go through.
Then go through.
Yeah, when I copy, I need to go and paste it, right?
Yeah, you need to go in and paste. Like you just paste it here. You see, yeah, you go. Right? Make sense? Okay, so Howard, you can try this in a bit, right? And then let's
Okay.
just let's just check the solution for f of -8. So for f of -8, you put equal sign -8 times no 6, right? 6 times um so you do 6 times 3 times -8 and -4. That will do it, right? And you hit enter, you get a result. Okay. Any question about this?
Yeah, Professor, I have a question.
Sure.
I kind of came in late, so I don't really know what we started with.
Oh, okay, no problem. So free news. So you need to go to, first of all, you go to the Brightspace and you're gonna open the Word document. I'll quickly show you. We just go back to our Brightspace course and under the Excel demo, go back to course home.
I see it now.
You
Okay.
see now, okay, open that Word document. We are working on the Lab 1 practice. And let's again go back to the Word document. This is the one we're working on right now. And then we're going to work on question 2. And again, we're going to copy this
Pero en New
expression.
York, los Tommy me quieren como el mayor. Antes me tiraban fango, ahora para los shows me tiran con ropa interior. Cada vez que tiro un disco, tú sabes que
That's a background music. So again, I just mute it. Okay, so you go back to the Word document and I'm gonna copy that expression and we're gonna paste into the Excel file. Okay. So here paste the GeoVax, right? Again, go back to the Word documents, copy first, and then go back to the Excel file, and then paste it here. Okay. Now again, we're going to do a little bit of modification here, right? So we're going to put 5 times 2 times x minus 1 over x and minus 4. Now that's the proper input in Excel. And then we're gonna do a couple things. We're gonna do f of g of 0 and g of -4. G of 0 and g of -4. And let me just quickly highlight this. I'm gonna quickly format this and we can get started on the inputs. So now one more time, equal sign first, on parentheses, little 5 times 2 times 0 minus 1. And then it's basically just replacing the x with 0, but that's what we try to do here. X becomes 0 and divide by 0 and minus 4. And key enter. We expect to get an undefined answer, right? Meaning, okay, we found a typo in your, no, oh yeah, I'm missing parentheses here. So anytime you see there are 2 layers here in terms of parentheses. If you're missing any parentheses, which I did, right? That's gonna be a warning message. So you basically just look into the warning message and then you can just modify and get a proper answer there. So right here, we just need an extra parenthesis. So the inner layer is in the red parentheses and outer layer is in the black parentheses, right? And then actually, in this case, if you don't need this, if you don't want to put this outer layer, that's okay. This is still good, right? Equally good. So it's division by 0. If you put a parenthesis here, not an issue. It's still the same result. And this result indicates is division by 0. So this is basically because we divide by 0 here, right? X is 0. Anything divided by 0 is undefined. So this is the same thing as saying the result is undefined. Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Hello.
We have a certain input. Okay, and then I want you guys to try the G-4. Okay, I'm gonna open the input so that you can see that when this parenthesis is not necessary. I'll just get rid of 1 layer to make it slightly simpler. Now check the result. So it will be 5 times 2 times 4 and minus 1 close parentheses divided by -4 and minus 4. And also Excel will follow pandas, right? Basically follow the proper orders, to get a result. So you just hit enter, you get a result. So the result turned out to be 2.75. Any question about this? Okay, and then let's look at question 3. And again, let's go back to the Word document. And this one is getting a little bit more complicated on h of x. So we're just gonna copy this and go back here to Excel and paste it accordingly. And now, okay, I'm gonna try to simplify this a little bit. So this one, we don't need this parentheses. Okay, we're gonna put in a multiplication sign here. I will do it. Bottom, I'm gonna put 5 times x in the parentheses. And then adding 9 over 4 times x. So when you copy this h of x into the Excel, it wasn't converted for my inputs. It wasn't converted properly in terms of missing some of this. So we need to do a little modification here, right? So basically, it's 2 times this, right? 2 times the entire expression, and then numerator is -4 times 3x minus 2. Denominator is 5x. So adding 9 over 4x plus 1. Now going back here to the Excel. Now we're going to do h of -2 and then h of 3. So we do h of -2 first. And h of 3. Now what it's saying is whenever we see x in our original expression, we're going to replace it with the -2. We need another multiplication sign. So that's inputted. So put equal sign first. 2 times parentheses -4 times 3 times -2 minus 2, and then divide by 5 times -2. And on the other one is plus 9 over 4 times 2 plus 1. And that's a proper input for this. This is a rational function. So to enter, if something is missing here, it's missing a parenthesis here, right here. Okay. So as you can see, there are 2 layers on the numerator. The inner layer is in red, outer layer is in black, and so I'm missing this one, and then I see a warning message. So basically, you open a parenthesis, you close one. Right? That's a rule in Excel. And then numerator is one level, is kind of like parallel level with the denominator. Now this is good, and then you just hit enter, get a result. Now okay, I'm gonna format this, right? Because there's too many decimal, so I'm gonna run it to 2 decimal place. So you just highlight those 2 cells, go to format cells. Under the number, we're gonna modify the decimal places to 2, right here. Add amount of decimal or reduce it based on your need, right? So basically, this is minus 7.69. All right, so now I want you to try h of 3 yourself. This is the input. Replacing the x, and an x with the
Can I see the answer for the second one?
second one. Sure. You mean the inputs for which g
Yeah.
of -4?
4 minus 4.
Okay. This one, right?
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
No problem. There you go. All right, so let's try the let's check the answer for h of 3 here. 2 times -4 times open parentheses 3 times 3 minus 2. And then close another parentheses, 2 layers, right? Inner layer, inner parentheses, and outer layer. And divide by 5 times 3. So that would take care of the first quotient. And then add in the second quotient, 9 over 4 times 3 plus 1. And that will do it. We'll just key enter and we get a result. And this one is fairly sophisticated. So the amount of decimal, amount of the parentheses, and also where to put the parentheses, that really matters. And you just try to avoid the misinterpretation by Excel, right? We want to make sure Excel understand what we try to do properly. Okay, and he enter, and that turned out to be negative 3.04. All right, so that's question 3, question 4. And then again, we'll go back to the Word document. And this one is exponent. So we will highlight the expression, copy h of 2 and h of -5. And then go back here to the Excel and paste it. And then here we're gonna do something, right? In the Excel, the exponent with base E will become EXP. Okay, so this is the it's kind of like special input for the Excel. You need to put you're gonna change this into EXP. Now we're doing h of 2 and then h of -5. Now I'm going to show you h of 2 first. Put equal sign EXP. As you can see, the first formula here returns the e raised to the power of a given number. Okay, that's the purpose of using this formula here. So open parentheses and 2 to the second minus 1. That's a proper input, right? I cannot do, right? If you cannot do e equal to e raised to, that doesn't work, right? It has to be 2. If you do this, then you won't reach, it doesn't return anything. You see, it wasn't, again, when a coder coded, it was coded in EXP. Also, in a lot of coding language, they're also using EXP instead of using E directly. That's why this is the incorrect input. You do that, you get this like a syntax, right? Syntax error, meaning this expression wasn't recognized by Excel. Okay, so that's basically how you do the e to whatever power. And this is special input. And again, we're gonna change format a cell, change it to that 2 decimal place, and go back to the format cells number and change it to 2 decimal. Click on OK. Yep. So now you guys try h of -5. And by the way, this exponent, right, is on a keyboard. If you want to get this exponential symbol, you're gonna shift and 6. That's how you get that exponential symbol. Shift, hold on, Shift and 6 on the keyboard. Okay, now check the answer. So EXP first, open parentheses, and -5 to the second, and -1. One quick question. Is that okay? I leave out the parentheses for -5. Or another way of saying this, if I put parentheses for -5, is that okay?
Yes or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Very good, Giancarlo. Yeah, that's a thing. If you put that in an older version of Excel, this is a must. Like I think around 5 years ago, before and the older version, right? This is a must. But I think the coder did a little improvement on this. So right now the version is if putting this or without putting this will yield the same result because Excel will assume we are doing the -5, square. We are squaring the -5. So this is okay. And then we get a very large number here, right? I'm gonna format it one more time because this is not I'm using a 1,000 separator here. I'm gonna check 1,000 separator. I'm gonna see this. It's a huge number, right? It's 26 trillion. Is it 26,489,122,129.84? And that's the exact answer for this because we're raising the E to basically we're raising the E to 24th power. If you do the quick calculation, and E is approximately 2.718. If you're raising that number to 24 power, according to the compounding effect, you become a gigantic number, right? In this case, it's a gigantic number, 26 billion. So that's the proper answer here. Any question about this? Now let's take a look at question 5. This one, another exponent, but this is a regular exponent, right? The only special exponential expression is the exponent with base E. That one is coded differently using a special coding. And then the rest of them is pretty much like what you input into the Excel, right? So go back here. Let me just copy that expression really quickly. So it's a 5 times x raised to 3x minus 2. If the exponent, the base, is anything other than E, and the input will be standard, meaning it'll be the same as how you input it into the your calculator. And we try to get f of 0 and f of -1. F of 0 and f of -1. So now one more time, let me just center this all borders. Now, if you want to put a little bit design on that, you can do that, right? You can give a background, and then put in the result from there. Okay, so equal to f, so it's a 5 times, and x base is 0, right? We're raising the 0 to so this is a regular input. 0 to whatever power. Okay, and it's 3 times 0 minus 1 minus 2. And what do we expect to have here?
Zero.
Probably something undefined, right? Because it's a 0 raised to -2nd power. And if you flip it to denominator, we're gonna get something like 5 over 0 squared or 5 over 0. And that's gonna be undefined. Anything over 0 is undefined. And that's why we get something like this. We get division by 0. This means, again, division by 0. And undefined, right? That's typically what we call defined. Or you can say the answer is infinity, right? But yeah,
Right.
that's basically undefined or infinity, something like that. But in nature, is a typical division by 0 case scenario. And also, you guys try f negative 1, see what you end up with. Okay, let's check the answer. So equal to 5 times negative 1 raised to 3 times negative 1 and minus 2. Yeah, we expect to get negative 5, right? It's supposedly, and it does return negative 5. And right here, I think I forgot to put a multiplication sign here. All right, so that's question 5. Any comments or any? Okay, so question 6. And again, let's return back to the Word document. And it's a k of x. And again, it's a basic exponent. Okay, let's copy that. And then paste it back to Excel. Yep, so again, I guess something, you don't need this, right? So we're going to modify that. Yeah, should be 9 times 3.25 raised to parenthesis 5x minus 1. And then we need to calculate a couple of things. K of negative 3, K of 5. K of negative 3, and then K of 5. Now start with the K of negative 3 equal sign 9 times 3.25 raised to 5 times negative 3 minus 1. Okay, that's the proper input. And you hit enter. On the keyboard, hit enter. And we get this. And again, this is a scientific notation. This is equivalent to 5.8091 times 10 raised to negative 8 power. That's equivalent inputs to this. Okay. And then we can turn that into a standard notation by format cell and click on number. And then we can just basically run it to, if you go up to 10 decimal place, you see it's a very, very little number. Okay. So you get something like that, 0.0000000581. Okay. And then K of 5. You guys try K of 5, see what you end up with.
So can I see the K of minus 3?
Which one? Question 6? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, let's check the result. We're gonna get an extremely large number here because we are compounding 3.25. That's a large base to 24th power. So to this, what, 5 times 5 minus 1. And that is proper input. Then he enter. Get this. Again, this is scientific notation. This means 1.73557 times 10 to 13th power. So that's a very large number. Now we can do a quick conversion here. Go back to format cells, number using 1000 separator. Then get exact outputs, right? Click on OK. So this is 70,355,741. Oh, actually, it's even bigger than that, right? This is 1,000, million, billion, trillion. Yeah, it is 17,355,000,000,000 and change, right? So it's a very, very large number. All right, any question about this? Let's look at next part. Let's go back to the Word document. Next part is about creating the order pair for this. Okay, I'm gonna just copy the entire question here. And basically it's a linear equation and try to sketch the graph for this linear equation by creating the 5 order pairs. Now again, I'm going to show you some 7. Paste it. Now, first of all, we are having the linear equation f of x equal to minus 2.5 times x and plus 25.6. Okay, now this is a typical linear function. And so basically we have a couple of things, right? First one is the slope and the y-intercept. I'm going to define both. This is important step. Okay, let's see. Color, we're going to use this color maybe. All backgrounds, all borders. I use a different background, I guess. Okay. So the slope here is minus 2.5. And then the y-intercept here is 25.6. And you're going to see why we need to, it's kind of like we're using the cell B31 to represent the slope, and B32 to represent the y-intercept B. Okay. Now let's create a order pair right on the side. If you want to put it right below that on the side, equally good. So I guess I'll put it underneath x and f of x. Now we need 5 order pairs. Theoretically, you can use any like x values, right? And again, I'm going to using the number generator in Excel and then get all those numbers. I guess I'll start with a 0 and then an increment of 2. Okay. Well, and then once you get first couple numbers, and we can get the rest of them. meaning 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's what we're going to use. You can also use, let's say, 0, 5. Then that's an increase of 5 units, right? That's equally good. Okay. And then here on the meaning we're gonna replace X with a 0 for the first input. So you're gonna do this. You're gonna click on slope, right? Because it's always slope times X value, and then multiply. I'm gonna add in the y-intercept b. Yeah, but the one thing is I'm gonna do absolute reference. That's why we define the slope and the y-intercept at the very beginning. So we're gonna put $ in front of b, $ in front of 31. And another way of saying this is we're locking the cell. You're locking the cell for the slope. So you're telling the Excel, we're gonna use the slope for all these 5 calculations using by going back to the same cell, B31, and then multiply by this right here, A35. And I keep that floating, right? Because that changes from one input to the next input. And then now you add in the y-intercept. Okay, now again, because it's that one stays constant in all 5 calculations, so put $ in front of both B and 32. And this technique is called absolute reference. By using $, right? We lock in the cell. Another way of saying this is locking the cell for the calculation. So once we do one of that, this is quite convenient. If you input that properly, now the rest of the work will be done automatically. So it's kind of like automation, right? You're just telling the Excel, follow this pattern. If let's say you have a lot of calculation to do, or like a lot of outputs will using a similar formula, then this is very convenient and efficient to get your outputs. Yep. Any question about this? One more time, this is how you log the cell. But first of all, we using B31 representing the slope, B32 representing the y-intercept. This is a prep work, right? Pre-work, this is necessary. And once you do that, then locking the cell part is necessary. And that will give us a lot of convenience, when we calculate the rest of the result. And if you click on any, you see, this is the proper formula for the next outputs. And also same thing here, right? Proper outputs. So this is quite convenient and useful technique. When you handle a large data set or large database, this is also will bring some convenience. All right, so now any question about this? Now once we get there, right, so now we're just gonna insert. So I highlighted the entire table, and then go back to insert, and then we're gonna click on this, the last icon here. It's basically a scalar plot, right? This is a big bubble, but we don't need that. This is too big. This is actually what we want. The second option will give you the line directly, right? The second option is good. Let's see, fourth option. That's also good. I guess we can use either second option and fourth option. And also there's a way to modify this. customize this. Okay, this, you can click on this and put in axis titles, right? Because the horizontal axis is X, right? Vertical axis, the f of X. And this function here is equal to minus 2.5 times X plus 25.6. And that's the function we try to graph. Again, you can modify a lot of things here based on your preference. And this is one thing we could do. And also, you can pick design here. Go back here, you can pick a proper design. If you like a certain design here, or you can customize the graph based on your needs. Yeah, a lot of things you can do here. And right here, click on plus sign one more time, and then you can put in the legend. You can modify the legend. But no, we don't need that. Data labels, you can do a data label on all of those points, right? It will show you what the Y value on each one of the points. And under the trend line, if you click on this direction arrow here, and then click on more options, it will take you to, yeah, one more time. Plus sign, trend line, more options, this will come up. But sometimes it's not a linear model. It could be a logarithmic model or polynomial model or a moving average model that we can fit a proper model there. And also we can fit in the color. We can do a different color for the point. You see the line will change to a different style and also different colors. You can increase the transparency here. Now you see that's a border right here. And also a lot of things you can do, right? You can play around with this. You can change the background shadows. Yep. Great. But some of them, again, we gotta make sure it's a proper settings applied to this particular data set. Okay. I guess we'll stick with the preset. Is that no shadows? Okay, let's stick with the no shadows. Yeah. Also, let's graph this one. Okay, let's graph this K of X, right? I'm going to show you another popular graphs, which is exponent in the Excel. So let's copy this and we'll learn how to graph this one. Let's call this question 8. Now here also we can do couple multiplication, right? This is in the exponential model. We call this A. This is a B. So we're gonna define a couple things. Yeah, so we're gonna define A as 9 and a B is the base. So the coefficient is 9. So that means we're using cell B47 to denote the 9 here, right? And then the base is 3.25. using B to represent the base 3.25. Now, one more time, we're gonna need some x coordinate, right? And then the y coordinate and k of x. This time I'm using 7 order pairs. And any suggestion, what number should we pick? In order to get a good graph.
So that it's not positive, or so
That's-
that it's positive, the exponents.
Exponents could be negative though. That's totally okay. Exponents could be negative. Even though it's negative exponent, but we're still gonna end up with the positive numbers because of the exponential function with a base which is greater than 1. We're always gonna end up with the positive answers here. Let's see. I guess we're gonna pick couple from the left-hand side of the 0 and a couple from right-hand side of 0. So we'll be putting 0 here, that we're gonna get -1, right? So we can do 0, maybe from -1 and 0. Okay. And a couple more along the way, so it will be 7. Okay, I guess I'll start with the -2. -2 on the left. Let's see, -1.5. And then -1. And let's see. Out of this. Okay. And again, this is the increment of 0.5. Now, one more time, we're gonna use the absolute reference, right, on the coefficient 9 and also the base. So now take that and then put absolute reference. Okay, and then times this one. Similarly, put the absolute reference. Those two stays the same for all 7 calculations. And then raised to, right? And that's gonna be 5 times. The cell is gonna be A51. I wasn't able to select the A51 here, but we can just type it in A51. And then -1. And that one stays floating, meaning it varies from one output to another output. Okay. And this is how we input it. Now he enter. Now we're gonna get the rest of them. Yep, that's what we have here. All right. Any question about this? Now, again, we could do a quick modification. I guess I will keep it consistent in the 4 decimal place. Yep. Now let's graph it. First of all, I'm just gonna change the background. And let's graph this. Highlight the entire columns, right? 2 columns, X column, and then K of X column. Go to insert. And again, we're still gonna do this, but it's gonna be this. One more time, right? Let me go back, double check something. The graph looks slightly off. Yeah, the inputs is good. I guess this number is way too large. So what I want to do is last one, I'm gonna change it to, I guess, 1.1. Yeah, so that will look, if you do that modification, then the graph will look much better. So then I insert this. I guess then let me do this. Again, it still doesn't look very good graph. So I'm gonna change back to minus 0.3, negative 0.3, negative 0.2, and the rest of them will change accordingly. I think this is look much more reasonable, and the numbers are very close. And the reason, so again, sometimes you try to sketch a complicated function. Be mindful about the values. Right? If the gap is very large, then you're gonna see something like what we just saw earlier. Not a very sophisticated graph. It doesn't look good. So that means you need to adjust the range of the x values. Also adjust that. So now one more time, we're gonna sketch a graph. Insert this. Now, if you look at it one more time, it looks much better. This is actually the reasonable graph for this exponential function. And again, we can do a little bit of modification, meaning the design. You can put a personal touch on this. X is title. The x coordinate is just x values. And y coordinate is k over x. And also the title, I'm going to modify that. It's 9 times 3.25 and raised to 5x minus 1. And also we can modify something here. If you want to change a little bit more, right here we can put a data label. Sometimes if you put in data label, it look messy, but in this case it is, right? It's quite messy, so we're gonna get rid of it. Error bars, green line, you can get rid of the green line or add a green line in the back if necessary. Legends, okay. And a trend line here. This is definitely an exponential, right? Exponential model. If you click on more options, we are fitting the exponential model. You see the solid, right? Solid curve there. Display equation. You will display this equation, but no, we don't need that. And then go back here. That's solid. This is solid line, and then you can change to a different color if you want to. Again, a lot of things we can modify here. Dash style. I'll change to this one. Square. Yep. So shadows, you can modify the shadows, grow, soft edge. So let's see, soft edge. Yep. And depends on your, let's say, running colors. Let's see. Depends on your purpose, right? If you design this just for certain like presentation or like present this to a certain audience, and you want to modify according to your context. All right, so any question about this? All right, so I'm gonna save this and then upload to our Brightspace course. In that case, you guys can use as reference, right? Practice.
Yeah, so that was gonna be my question actually.
Mhm.
This is recorded. You recorded this as a video, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you so
record it as a video, and then after we finish the class, I will produce it and I will upload it to our Brightspace course under, let me show you, under the Zoom meetings, right? Here,
Okay.
Zoom meeting on Thursday. I'll upload a video here. Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you again.
sure. And Giancarlo, yeah, and then right now, right, I'm gonna set aside half an hour, right? So you guys can put you guys in a different rooms, and so you guys can spend half an hour finish the Excel project number one. While you're working on the Excel project, if you need any help, you can just call me and I'll go to your breakout room, and then you guys can talk to me on an individual basis. So right now, I'll put you guys in a breakout room, right? So you can talk to me on an individual basis, if necessary. Okay. And then we after half an hour, you guys gonna take a break, and then when we come back from the break, we will work on the Excel part number two. So that's the plan for today's Zoom session. Okay, now I will assign on that. Great. I'm gonna create a breakout room so you guys can join the breakout room. Okay, you can go ahead, join the breakout room, work on the actual project. And then the actual project, one second, let me show you where you can find the actual project. You just go back to our Brightspace course. And then under the Excel project, first couple projects due on Monday, right? No, actually Sunday, yeah, 27th. So I need to finish both project by Sunday. And again, allow it to revise this. If you do not get 100 on an Excel project, you can revise it one or two times, and the high score will be counted. So you can just click on the Excel project number one, and open it's a PDF file. So you just need to open this file, and then you can also copy this expression, right? It's similar to what we did during the demo session. Just copy this and then just start working on these results. Any question about the plan or anything? Okay. So I'm
Professor,
gonna-
I have a question.
Sure, yeah.
My Excel won't let me copy the data from the doc.
No problem. I'll be
Thanks.
fine. So you can just type it in yourself, not an issue, right? You can just type it in one by one. That happens for some students in the past semesters. So if it doesn't allow you to copy, maybe in the actual project, because it's PDF file, it may allow you to copy. So try that.
Yeah, I'll try that because right now I was trying to copy from the actual document. I opened, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no problem, right? Also, when I create a breakout room, I can go to the breakout room and then take a look at your screen and see if I can provide some help. Okay. Yep. So I'm gonna put you guys in breakout room for maybe about 30 minutes, maybe about 20. You should be able to finish fairly quickly. Maybe 25 minutes, and then we'll come back, we take a break, and then we work on the second project. Okay, so let me first of all put you guys in the breakout room. Demo of the second Excel project. Okay, so one more time, let's go back to our Brightspace course and just upload the solution for the lab one priority solution. Okay, and then you can use it as a reference together with the videos. Now let's go back to Excel demo and let's open the lab 2 practice. Open that. And also download the file. And this one is already inputted into the Excel. So you can just work on the file directly. Yeah, so open file, lab 2 practice. Now this one is mainly about the frequency distribution table, histogram, and also the pie chart. Okay. So right here, let's enable editing, and then let me share the screen with you guys. So again, this is about the McDonald's breakfast. Okay, now we're going to create a frequency distribution table using 6 classes, and also the histogram using the following data set. And right here, we're gonna a quick review on this is this is already sorted, right? But in your actual project, it's not sorted. So you need to sort the data set first. And in this case, if you want to sort the data set, you can highlight all the numbers and then go to sort and filter. Under AZ, right? There's a sorting option here. Sort smallest to largest. And then you don't want to expand the selection. Otherwise, Excel will sort the entire column of column B. That's not what we want. We just want to continue with the current selections, only sorting the numbers, sorting. Also, you can sort largest to smallest, continue with the current selection, right? And also you can do a custom sort, and that's usually necessary for more complicated data set with multiple columns. But in this case, we only have one column, so that's not used. Now again, I'm going to go back to the regular sortings, and then here we can do a sample size, right? You can let the Excel figure out the sample size here by using a formula called count. I'm going to show the work here. So we're going to do a quick count on the data set. To figure out the sample size, just highlight all those numbers from B5 all the way to B28. Supposedly there should be 24 numbers here. 24. And if you have a large data set, let's say thousands of the data values, This is necessary, right, to get an idea of what sample size we're dealing with. Also, we're gonna figure out the maximum and the minimum and use that to create a to calculate the class width. So in order to find a maximum, you just type in max, open parentheses. So highlight the entire data set. And Excel will return the maximum value in this data set. So that turned out to be 59. And also the minimum, similarly, you type in minimum of the entire data set. So now highlight all the 24 numbers. Now you will return the minimum. And from there, we can calculate the class width. This is one of the most important things. Right? Ensure the frequency distribution table. And we'll do this. We will just using the maximum minus minimum, divide by number of classes, and this is predetermined 6 classes. Now end up with a 9.333 as what you see from our when we did it in class by hand, right? It's not the same idea here. Again, this is decimal numbers, so we're gonna run it up to the maximum number. So we're running up to 10. So that means 10 is the class width. So any data set has the same process. Basically, we need to nail down the class width before we start creating a pivot table and then do our settings from there. Now we get the class width. Now it's good to go. So first of all, you will highlight the entire data set. Okay. Then go to insert. And we are using this pivot table, right? This is one of the most convenient way of creating a frequency distribution table. So go to pivot table and you pick the first option. It's called from table and range. You could do from external data source, but we're not doing that, right? You could import the external data source and then create a frequency table from there. That's also an option. Now here we are already selecting the entire data set, including the title X. Now you're gonna see this green box. It's like flowing green box here, right? And that's what we need. And then put into the existing worksheet. You could pick the second option, existing worksheet, and go back to this content area here, and I'm putting under this K7. This is K7. I'll put the table under K7. And then click on OK. And then you're going to see the pivot table field will pop up on the side. Now I'm going to check this column X, check that. And then you're going to drag this down to the rows. Okay. But if you go back to, and then you just cross it out, right? Close it on the side. Now you see this is a raw table. It's not good yet. So it means we got to do some more modification based on this given table here. So now let's continue. So first of all, click on one of the number under K8. You can, pick that cell in the green box. Right click on it. I'm gonna need a group. Okay, this is where we put in all those important parameters for this frequency distribution table. Click on group. Now again, we're gonna pick a starting point. This time I'm gonna pick, I think we did the other one, right? 0 or 1. And you can use, the starting point could be 3, could be 1, could be 0, right? This time I'll pick 1 as a starting point. So here you're gonna see starting at 1, ending at 59. That's okay. That's the maximum value. And then by, this is important class width, right? You gotta by means class width by 10. And once those three are properly modified, then you can click on OK. Now all the classes will be generated automatically in a second. And again, 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, and then we have 6 classes. But again, here is a second column here. L column is a sum of all the data values in each class. And that's not what we want. So one more time, you're gonna click on 12 here, right click on it. Now see the drop-down menu and then click on value field settings. This is where you change the function. Right? I change the formula to get the proper frequency for each class. Okay, so you're gonna do count. You actually ask the cell to count how many data values belonging in the first class. And once you select that, it will come up. Okay, so this is our proper frequency distribution table. When I go back, I'm gonna quickly modify this to a bigger size and center all borders. And also I'm gonna change the titles, its classes and a frequency. That should do it. That should be our proper graph. And just center that. Any question about this up to this point? Now, once we have this, then we can create a histogram based on this frequency distribution table. We can also just type in frequency distribution below. And now you're going to highlight this table here and then go to insert. Again, we're going to pick this right here. It's called a 2D columns, right? We're going to create a 2D columns and then modify the graph from there. So you're going to pick the first option, first graph here. You could create a 3D one, but it's not, in this case, we don't need it, right? If you want to do a 3D, not a problem, but I'm just stick with the 2D ones. Okay. So I'll go to insert, first option here, 2D columns. And I'm going to change a couple things here. It's called, first of all, I'm going to pick design. On the top, that's a design, or you can custom design this yourself, right? Step by step. I just pick one of them, this one. And then if you click on this plus sign here, it's a chart. It's called a chart elements that you can actually put in the axis titles will be classes and change the font size. Okay, and then also the y-axis is the frequencies. So that's one thing we do, and also we can put in the title. click on plus sign, chart title. We'll call this histogram plot. Numbers preference. That just modify slightly. Okay. And right here, this is not done yet. We still gotta get rid of the gap here. So if you click on all these rectangle boxes, and then you right click on it. Then you could add a data label here, right? We'll put a frequency on top of each rectangle box. And also you could do format data series. Now here, first thing you need to do is to change the gap width to 0%. And then the easiest thing to do is under the first option, fill, you just vary colored by point. That'll be the easiest thing to do. You can do a solid fill, right? And a very gradient fill, different kind of pattern fills, have different automatic. Okay. Under automatic, you just assign the different color for each class with the frequencies. Yeah, so that's basically a graph, right? The border is clear, no like overlapping here. So this is a pretty good graph. And then also, again, you can put in your personal touch on any of these graphs. Okay. Any question about the histogram? Okay, so that's histogram. Then we put it on the side, and I'm gonna move on to the next part. Or you can resize this, right? That's the way to resize it. Just under the chart area, we can do a quick resize. Or do this. So that's side by side. Right? So this one is you can just put it here, and then on top you say this is the histogram. So that's how to construct a histogram. Okay. And now in order to construct the pie chart, I'm gonna highlight this. Just the classes frequency all the way up to the last class. Do not select the grand total, but that's just a quick way to validate the work from Excel. And just copy this, and then you're gonna bring down to here, right? You're gonna paste it down here. And so that's basically the table we work with. And then we're gonna need a relative frequency here. We need percentage frequency. That's what we call. I'm just gonna quickly format this. And we need a total. So the total on the bottom. And then highlight all those frequencies. And then click on auto sum. You get the total frequencies here. That's a shortcut on top. You can also put equal sign here with sum. And then pick the sum. And open parentheses, highlight all those 6 numbers. Then enter. The total of 24. Sample size 24. Now from here, we're going to calculate the percentage frequencies. We do this. We put equal sign for that. And we change the font size. So put equal sign, then select this each class frequency. Start with L29, the frequency for first class, dividing by total frequency. And also we're going to lock the cell for the total frequency. Okay. And we get the decimal numbers for the first value frequency. And then we can automate the calculation by dragging the cells. Now just highlight all those decimal numbers, right click on it, go to format cells. Now under the percentage, you're going to run it to 2 decimal place. Click on OK. Now here, we just want to graph classes and also relative frequency, so we can hide this column here, right? We can just do a hide column. It's basically you're just hiding that column. Now you highlight the table with the relative frequencies. Now go to insert, under the pie chart. You can get a 3D pie. You can just 2D pie, I think it looks straightforward. And we drag on the side. Now similarly, there's a design option here, right? You can pick design on top. And format data labels. Yep. And any questions about this? Yeah, so basically you should just show you the percentage for each class. This is the relative frequency, the pie chart from the relative frequency table. All right, any question about this? Okay, so no questions, so you can just again go back to our Brightspace course and go down to course home. And then let's open the Excel project number 2, second project. And it's already in the Excel file, so you can just open the file and I'll start working on this second Excel project. And again, I'll be here helping you guys if you need any individual assistance. Let's open the file, browse. Yeah, this is the one. It's about cultural literacy. Okay. So again, we're using 6 classes. So click on enable editings. And now again, if you look at the data set itself, it's not sorted yet, right? So the first thing you would do is sorting the data values in the increasing order. This is definitely not sorted yet. So you can go to sort and filter. And then from there, you will just figure out what will be the class width, proper class width, and go from there. Meanwhile, I'm gonna save this file and upload it to our Brightspace course. Okay. Also, if you have any question from your home assignments, when I put you into the breakout room, you can feel free to talk to me individually, and I can help you with your homework assignments as well.